Welcome back, everyone. On today's video we test out a new detector from Kaiweets called the KGM01. It is a very portable metal detector. As you can see, I have everything you need completely packed away in the backpack that's included in the kit. Next to it we have the Xterra Pro, which is quite a small detector. It is a 3-piece shaft, so that's as small as it will pack down. And my main detector is the Equinox 800, even with the tiny 6-inch coil. It is a much larger design. Clearly something that you want to focus on in detecting is how much room it's going to take up when you pack it away or carry it with you. So we're going to take a look at this new one from Kaiweets once I get it out of the package and do a couple of air tests, see how it compares to the $300 and $900 machines. Here you can see the components out of the box. You have your upper shaft, the extension that goes onto the arm cuff, and the shaft that connects to the coil, as well as the control box. I will put them all together. And there we go. I stand at 5 foot 11 inches tall. There's actually more extension for somebody who's going to be taller than me. You can see I have it set at about the 4 mark, well, between 3 and 4, so there's an extra couple of inches for the forearm length. The weight of it, I would say, is pretty balanced. I don't feel a lot of nosedive. It's not a very heavy coil, but for me at 5'11", there's still plenty more room to go. For people who are smaller or children, obviously these parts of the shaft can compact a lot lower, making it easier for children to use. And there's at least another 5 inches in the forearm where this part can slide in, allowing it to match the size of a smaller person or child's arm. But I'm going to put a couple of targets on the ground, run through some of the tests and features on this machine here. Alright, I got a couple of targets that we can air test. I do have the 2 included 9-volt batteries in the back of the machine here. As soon as you power it on, right now it is in all metal mode. Your features are all metal. You can discriminate against certain targets. You can notch out targets, add memory. I'm assuming you can set your own custom setup. And I believe there was another one, yep, just coins. So if you only want to look for coins at a park, that would be helpful. Let's go ahead and leave it in all metal mode and see what we get. My first target here is going to be a US penny. And just hovering over it. It is bouncing between the zinc that does have a little 1 cent mark in it, and aluminum, which shows rings, pull tabs, and I'm not sure what that, oh, a can. But it is finding it, and we'll see how high I can go before it misses it. At this height, I'd say I'm about 8 to 10 inches above the ground there. It is missing and showing me iron, but again, this is all metal mode. I'd say it's pretty solid there at about 5 to 6 inches, telling me a zinc penny. Let's go ahead and move on to the nickel US 5-cent piece. Now this one in all metal, it's given me about a 55 signal, 52, when it finds the nickel. Those are notoriously hard to find between a pull tab and a nickel, which ring up a 13 on my Equinox 800. So at least in all metal mode, it's struggling to tell if this is iron or a nickel. We'll move on to the US dime, 10-cent piece. Now on this machine, 10 cents should be showing as the second to the last AG silver there. It's ringing up aluminum, zinc. There we go. At a certain height, that higher pitch tone. Right there, I'm about 8 inches off of it. The farther away I get, the more it just gives me an iron signal. But I would say you're good to find coins about 6 to 8 inches underground so far. Quarter is pretty solid, ringing in that second to last silver mark that has the 25-cent little icon on it. Again, iron tones. So we'll go back over these with just the coin mode in a second. Here is a sterling silver bracelet. And in all metal mode, a little bit of everything, about 6 inches off the ground. Zinc, nickel, aluminum. And then we move on to a 14 karat gold ring. Now, of course, the aluminum and zinc have little ring shapes with them. Perhaps the zinc is showing me an earring and the aluminum a ring, but it is ringing out. Much higher with this one, about 8 to 10 inches off the ground, so you can find rings there. Now if I go into the mode and I switch us to just the coin mode, let's see if this changes anything. Starting back over here at the penny. Solid zinc, 1 cent, so it is finding it. That's about 5 to 6 inches above. Can go a little higher. You miss it at about 10 inches, but 8 inches. Nickel. Nickels keep coming up under the zinc, or it should be under nickel. Let me flatten this a little lower. Got nothing at about 10 inches. Say around 6 inches you start to see it, but you see I'm waving all over it, and there we go. 4 inches for the nickel. So it's not as good at finding nickels. US dime. This is about 10 to 12 inches above the dime. So it is finding it consecutively. It likes dimes deeper than nickels. US quarter. Good 10 to 12 inches. Let's see. It should show me jewelry. They do show the icons on there. Silver bracelet. The high-pitched tones are what you want in the more expensive detectors. Not as consistent, but I am getting a signal for the zinc telling me the same range. High 60s, low 70s. And then the gold ring. So with this machine, you really got to focus on the beeps. It is giving me a 65 to 67, so pretty solid on the VDI scale. So you're not going to find the very deep targets with as you would with some of the more expensive machines, but you see you can find them. It would be the same if they were buried. The air test just shows you what we're finding. Now I will show you what else you get with this machine. These are the wired headphones that come in the package. Pretty basic headphones. They do appear to have some type of pivot set up to them, or at least an extension there, not a pivot. They are padded headphones, so they would be comfortable. I have not plugged them into the machine, but they appear to be your standard, what is that, a 1/4 inch? Maybe 5/16. I don't know what the standard size is, but regular headphones, no adapter needed. There is a volume control for the headphones right here. Make it convenient if they're a little too loud or a little too quiet for you. Those come in the package, and they were in that plastic. There is also an interesting little shovel. When you take the handle off, it unscrews right here. It will all fit inside of this package upside down. You can have that attached to your 2-inch typical dig belt width, but just like your army shovels, you unscrew this end. The shovel head will go out, and then you lock it in place until it stops rattling. It is serrated. You do have measurements in inches and centimeters. I'm assuming that would probably be for a bottle opener, which none of my more expensive shovels have, so somewhat of a nice feature. Now this is rather thin metal. I don't think this would last you forever, but as far as like a little park hunt, as long as you have it tight, you know, it will dig. You get some use out of it, but the nicest thing is this all packs away into the pack. I will shrink it back down here and remove the bottom half of the handle. I did notice on this last time it does have a compass, but any which direction I go seems to be north in all directions, so I would not use this as a functional compass, but they tried to include an extra little feature in there. Now that it's all taken apart, these pieces will all slide together and close, so you can either pack it away or put it on your dig belt. But every part of this detector fits inside of this backpack, and you have your backpack adjustable straps there, making it more portable than the more expensive machines. Now I will switch to the other detectors to show you the difference. We'll start off first with the $269 Minelab Xterra Pro. Okay, here we are with the Xterra Pro. I do have the Equinox EQX 11-inch coil on here. We prefer these because it's more of a stable VDI. We were getting jumpy VDIs out of the stock coil that came with this machine, but as I already have the Equinox 800 over there and several of the coils, these are what we run on it. There is a feature that you get on these detectors compared to the lesser priced ones, is that you have a let me go through the screen here. This button here is actually noise cancel. When you hear that sound and see that on the screen, you're going to be blocking out your EMI that would give you all sorts of feedback if you're in an area that's going to have overhead or underground wires. So the detector is ready to go. Let's start off on the penny. We lose a signal at about a foot. Here at about 10 inches. Pretty solid, 61 to 63. Move on to the US nickel. Starting to get a beep at about a foot. pretty consistent at about 8 inches. Move on to the US dime. Eight to 10 inches. And there we go at about 75 to 78. US quarter. $89 to $90, very high tone. That is about 8 to 10 inches. Moving on to the silver bracelet. Starting to get a beep at about 12 inches. 8 to 10, we're getting a solid 50. And then the 18 karat gold ring. Solid beeps at about 14 inches, but nothing on the VDI yet. There we go. Bring her down to about 10 to 12 inches. Getting between a 63 to 66. So the Xterra Pro at around $300 gives you more depth, more solid numbers on the VDI, a little easier to use machine, and it does pack away pretty small, but you're looking at about triple the price of the Kaiweets KGM01. This all depends on what type of budget you have to spend on a metal detector. Let's switch over to the Equinox 800. All right, here we are with the $900 Equinox 800. I do have a lot of custom features on this. This is the Steve's Detector Rod's carbon fiber. This is a 2-piece shaft, so it won't compact like the 3-piece shafts, but it is lighter weight. I also have a couple other features on here. Let me take my arm out to show you. This is a counterweight, which comes in handy very well when I'm using one of the large 15 or 18 inches coils, because you're going to have nosedive with a heavier coil. This counterweight here is filled with extra weight to balance it in your arm. I do also have the power knocks, nice and dirty from my last trip, but that will double your power. You can actually charge the detector while you're using it. I have already ran through the cycle to noise cancel on this machine, just like the Xterra Pro, and I have it set up here. Now, going for the US penny, this should come in at about a 19 to 21. And you get consistent readings about 10 to 12 inches off the penny. Move on to the US nickel. This should be coming in around a 13. And I'm getting 12 to 14 at about 12-inch depth. US dime should be about 25. $12 to 14 inches there. US quarter should be 29 to 31. You can just hear it beep at about 12 to 14 inches. Solid consistency, 10 to 12 there. Sterling silver bracelet. Barely a blip at about 14 inches. Sometimes the chains are what causes the detectors to act a little funny, but we're getting a reading there at about 10 to 12 inches. Now the 18 karat gold ring. I'm about 14 inches, 15, picking that up on the detector. So as you see, all three of them are going to find objects in the ground, your coins, your jewelry. It all depends on, let me turn that guy off, what you want to spend. This would be a great entry-level detector for somebody. We do have discount codes on there right now. You can pick it up on Amazon for less than $100 because they give you I believe it's a $40 off coupon on Amazon good until May 31st of this year. They also take another 10% off, taking $54 off the price, so your out the door price should be at $100 or less. I also have a 15% discount available for their site, Kaiweets.com. So for under $100 you can get a detector for yourself to get started in the hobby, or perhaps a gift for someone in your family to get them to tag along with you. Then you have your $300, which was always our favorite entry-level detector, because for the price it is competing quite well with the Equinox 600, 700, 800, and 900 machines. That one really surprised us. Or you can go up to what a lot of people have been using the past few years, the Equinox 800. That machine's running around $900 right now. It all depends on what you want to spend. There are more expensive detectors out there, but not everybody can afford something around $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 to get started in the hobby. So I would say this Kaiweets one, it is certainly not the best, but if you want to bring somebody with you, it's a good detector to get started with, and you can't beat that price at under $100. Check the video description for the links and codes you need to get it at that price, and thanks again for watching.